another episode with dealing with our health in general, but paying particular attention to our elders. Today, we have a special treat with us, Christine Lowe, affectionately known as CeeLo. Now, in the last discussion, Dr. Ann, many of you know her as Ayana, I affectionately refer to her as Ado. She left us with, I think, 4 critical points. Point number 1, if your elder is experiencing confusion when you take them to the hospital or whether they're picked up by an EMT, make sure you stress the term delirium, because if you use any other terms, you will be taken less seriously. Point number 2, look into medical powers of attorney, wills, and insurance. And the last point is something we could almost do immediately, and that is make a medication list, tell which drugs they're taking, both the legal ones and the recreationals, and tell why they're taking those prescribed drugs. So today, again, we have CeeLo with us, and she's going to hip us to what is involved with the medical powers of attorney, will, and CeeLo, if you want to give her, just remind people who you are and take it away.
Good afternoon. Can you see me? Or are you just showing my slide? I wanted to see and say hi first before we go into the PowerPoint. Well, I am CeeLo, as you all know. I am very concerned about our elders, about our generational wealth, our generational health and wellness, the perpetuation of that, and establishing that and doing those things that we need to do and be vigilant about those things. Today we're going to talk about living wills and medical powers of attorney. In the state of Ohio, these are called advance directives. You have the right, using advance directives, to state your wishes about your medical care. People often worry about the medical care they will get if they become too sick to make their wishes known. You can and should state your medical care wishes in writing while you are healthy and able to choose. Under Ohio law, you have the right to complete a form while you are able to act for yourself, to tell your doctors what you want done if you can't make your wishes known. We're going to talk about 4 forms today: a living will, a do not resuscitate or DNR order, healthcare power of attorney, also known as durable power of attorney for healthcare, declaration for mental health treatment. A living will. The people giving you medical care must do what you say in your living will. A living will gives them the right to follow your wishes. Only you can change or cancel your living will. You can do so at any time. It states how much you want to use life support methods to lengthen your life. It takes effect only when you are in a coma that is not expected to end, or beyond medical help with no hope of getting better and can't make your wishes known, or expected to die and are not able to make your wishes known. A do not resuscitate order, DNR. A do not resuscitate order is an order written by a doctor or, under certain circumstances, a certified nurse practitioner or clinical nurse specialist that instructs healthcare providers not to do cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR, In Ohio, there are two types of do not resuscitate orders. Do not resuscitate comfort care. Only comfort measures will be administered before, during, or after the time a person's heart or breathing stops. This type of order is generally regarded as proper for a person with a terminal illness, short life expectancy, or with little chance of surviving CPR. Do not resuscitate comfort care arrest. This order permits the use of life-saving measures such as powerful heart or blood pressure medications before a person's heart or breathing stops. However, only comfort care may be provided after a person's heart or breathing stops. A healthcare power of attorney is different from other types of powers of attorney. This document talks only about healthcare issues, not your finances, property, or assets. A healthcare power of attorney allows you to choose someone to carry out your wishes for your medical care. The person acts for you if you cannot act for yourself. This could be a short-term period or a long-term period. Who should you choose? Any adult, relative, or friend whom you trust to act for you when you cannot act for yourself. Be sure to talk with the person or persons about what you want. Then write it down what medical care you do or do not want. You should also talk to your doctor about what you want. The person you choose must follow your wishes. When does my medical care power of attorney take effect? When you cannot choose your care for yourself. The form allows your relative or friend to stop life support only in the following circumstances. If you are in a coma that is not expected to end, or if you are expected to die. Declaration for mental health treatment. A declaration for mental health treatment gives more specific attention to mental health care. It allows you, while capable, to appoint a representative to make decisions on your behalf. When you lack the capacity to make a decision, in addition, the declaration can set forth certain wishes regarding treatment. For example, you can indicate medication and treatment preferences concerning admission and or retention in a facility. The difference between a healthcare power of attorney and a living will. Your living will explains in writing your wishes about the use of life support methods if you are unable to make your wishes known. Your healthcare power of attorney lets you choose someone to carry out your wishes for medical care when you cannot act for yourself. You want to have both of these. Can you change your advance directives? Yes. You can change them whenever you want. It is a good idea to review them from time to time to make sure they are still what you want. Who decides if you don't have an advance directive? If you don't have one, Ohio law says that your next of kin is the person who chooses your medical care if you are expected to die and cannot act for yourself. Where do you get advance directive forms? There are a number of websites, but today we're going to review the forms and how to complete them on the Midwest Care Alliance's website. You can complete the forms, download and print them, and have them signed and notarized for your elder, your loved one. I am encouraging each and every family to do this. You can find it at www.midwestcarealliance.org. All right, I need to change my screen. Hold on. Are there any questions at this time, Kwame, that you want to ask, or any points you want to bring some clarity to?
Not presently. Go ahead.
All right, let me hit up what I want to have here. All right. Let me just get this up on the screen. I had it up earlier, but for whatever reason, it's not still up. What we're going to do is actually look at this form and Wait, let me change my screens here. I'm gonna move this over to where we got it. All right, here we go. All right. So this form, and they look very similar. You'll find them on several websites, like I said. If you Google Living Will, Medical Power of Attorney, State of Ohio, there's several that'll come up, but they're very similar. So you're going to start by, you can find them, they're PDFs that are fillable, where meaning you can type in the information online, you can download and print them, because you're going to have them signed and notarized by the individual. So the first thing they're going to ask for is the name of that person. Put their name as it appears on their identification. Their date of birth. Be sure to accurately record the date of birth that is on their birth certificate. And I say that because I'm actually dealing with a situation right now with an elder in my family, and having requested their birth certificate, it was a handwritten record. And sometimes the handwritten record, it may not look like what you thought the date was. And at the end of the day, they're only going to go by what you can legally document. So you can request their documents from the Ohio Vital Statistics, or whatever state they're from, where they were born, excuse me. So make sure you complete that. Here, we're going to get to, I'm going to make this a little better. You're going to name the agent. The person named below is my agent who will make healthcare decisions for me as authorized in this document. So you want to fill in the person's name that the elder wants to appoint, and put their relationship to them. If it's just a family, if you're a friend, if you are niece, nephew, you know, cousin, put that there. Put your address and your telephone number. The senior or the elder completing the document, they're going to initial here. When you print it out, this is one of the places where they will initial. First alternate. So you can have more than one person. So if, for example, I'll take myself for example. My daughter would probably be my first person. My first alternate would probably be my sister. So I would list her name and her relationship to me, her address, her telephone number, and you can have a second alternate. So I would probably then next go to my brother, put his name and relationship, brother, his address, his phone number. Okay, so you're going to initial, the senior, the elder will initial here. By placing your initials in this box, you specifically authorize this person, your agent, to refuse treatment. Read these carefully, because some of these say you're initialing what you want. Okay, so you're choosing, if you want them to refuse treatment, to withdraw consent to artificially or technically supplied nutrition or hydration, or if I am in permanent unconscious state and my physician and at least one other physician who has examined me have determined to a reasonable degree of medical certainty that artificially or technically supplied nutrition and hydration will not provide comfort or relief to me. So read each one of these. So do not have any. If you don't want them to do those methods. So you need to read each one of these boxes and only initial those that apply. Okay. Additional limitations. This is something that I do on the ones that I've prepared. I will say I'll make a statement about like organ and tissue donation, because a lot of times when our people are in that position of transitioning, they want to harvest. I advise our people not to ever sign up on those registries for donations. But what you do is, if you do want donations done, you let those people know that you're authorizing as your agent what you want. And I just stated that those decisions can be made, those donations can be made at the discretion of those people that I've authorized. That's how I deal with that, so that you're not in a situation where um, they have you've already registered for organ and tissue donation, and they're just going ham, uh, harvesting. So I just say that I do not authorize any organ or tissue donations, but my authorized agent can make those delegations at their discretion. So but I make sure that they know what it is I want. So if I want maybe a close family member or someone that we know that we want to make that donation to, then that's what you do. Or if you want to allow them to do whatever tissue and donations they want, that's fine too. But tell your person, don't put that on the registry. Okay. I intend the authority given to my agent in my healthcare power of attorney will eliminate the need for any court to appoint a guardian of my person. However, should such proceedings start, I nominate the person below as my guardian of my person. So you need to make specific designations about these things. So most of the time it's going to be the same people that you're authorizing throughout, but there's several sections in the document. This is as far as guardianship. So again, I would start with my daughter. She would be my first person. My second alternate would be my sister. Complete their information by placing guardian of my estate. Again, you're going to put your initials here, and you're going to designate those people. And you want to waive a bond. I direct the bond to be waived. You see, that's the thing about when you don't have anything in place, they're going to go through your money. Basically, probate and that whole system is designed to deplete assets, to go ripping through your estate because you didn't make any designations. In fact, I was just having this conversation this week with someone about the fact that Aretha Franklin had an $80 million estate and had no will, had nothing as far as what they said they had. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just wondering, did she? But because it wasn't handled properly, you know, did she have it and not give it to the right people in her family? Um, I actually personally know and have experienced this. My mom transitioned in 2003. Do you know I just found her will in my childhood home last year? She did have a will. We didn't know anything about it. So when you prepare these documents, you need to make copies and give one to everybody that you list here as an agent. Give one to your attorney. Give one to another close friend. These medical power of attorney, give them to your physician. Um, don't keep it a secret. Keep a copy with your personal papers. I recommend purchasing a fireproof box, one of those ones that just has a handle on it. It's not that big. It's not like a big old floor safe or something, but it's fireproof. It has a handle on it, and you can actually grab it if you were needing to run out of the house. In the case of a situation, if we're needing to bug out on a survival level, doomsday prepper level, or wherever you are with that. But those things should be created, documented, and disseminated. Do not keep this a secret. I think a lot of times we hear all the time, about these situations where someone in the family has died and there's chaos in the family in terms of the decisions and in terms of the distribution of assets and resources. And that shouldn't be. That really shouldn't be. Everybody should have already known what was going to happen at whatever point in time. Um, you can actually go through and legally transfer property before hand. You can create, say, a life estate, and that we can do another talk about this at another time. But that actually gives your elder the right to live in their home until they no longer can, but the property's actually already been passed on to the family member designated. And that means that it doesn't have to be probated. That means that you're not going to have to pay the court or any estate taxes or inheritance taxes. It's already transferred.
So
And
we're going to have to do a follow up with about trusts and things of that nature you're just talking about.
absolutely. I just wanted to touch on that because I'm just talking about the importance of getting these things documented and getting them in the hands of people who can step up and speak for you at that time. The chaos that we witness in our community around when loved ones transition, it's unnecessary. Okay, so you sign it in front of a notary. It says witness or notary acknowledgement. I advise getting it done in front of a notary, having it signed and notarized, because notaries are appointed and they're basically authenticating the document. Because if you're doing it with just a witness, somebody could forge this. Let's just be honest. Um, so this goes on. I'm going to try this. Okay, living will. So you start, same thing. It's like I said, this is all in one document on this particular site. This is the living will. That was the medical power of attorney part. This is the living will. You start again with their name and their birthday. I've completed a healthcare power of attorney. Yes or no? In the event my attending physician determines that life-sustaining treatment should be withheld or withdrawn, my physician shall make a reasonable effort to notify one of these persons named below in the following order of priority. And here, again, you start with your first contact and their relationship, your second contact and your third contact. And if you only use one or two of these spots, cross out the unused line so that somebody else can't slide their name and information in there. I mean, this is a self-serve situation, but certain protocols should be observed when you're completing these. Okay, by initialing this box here, I specifically authorize my physician to withhold, or if treatment has commenced, to withdraw consent to provision of artificially or technologically supplied nutrition. So again, read each one of these, choose which one you want. In the special instructions, that's where I just state again that the decision to whether or not to donate my organs and tissues are at the discretion of my authorized agents. I restate that in this box here. Okay, anatomical gifts, like I said, if you want to complete it, you can, but if you don't, you do not have to. And again, you can leave that to your agent. And that's what I thought. Signed here, dated. Again, I advise notary acknowledgement. I just don't like, I just don't deal in the witness situation. I advise people to do it in front of a notary. Donor registry, if you want to enroll, like I said, you can. I personally prefer just designating those decisions to my agents. Do not resuscitate law is covered here. And when you get into this section, you again make your you have made your points, your decisions known. Okay. Like I said earlier, caveat, I don't believe that as a people we should register for organ and tissue donations, because that is actually like a state of Ohio through the BMV, you know. And if you're in an accident, they pick you up. They already got authority to go wherever way they want to go with you. I always say none of my organs, tissues are to be donated in general. My designated agents may donate my organs and tissues to a person or persons at their discretion. Okay, I want to just stress again, what do you do with all your forms after you fill them out? You should give copies to your doctors and healthcare facility to put in your medical records. Give one to a trusted family member or friend. Also give one to the people that you have chosen in the healthcare power of attorney and living will. They should have a copy. Put a copy with your personal papers and store them in a fireproof lockbox. You may also want to give a copy to your lawyer, your religious, spiritual, or clergy person. Be sure to tell your family and friends about what you have done. Do not just put these forms away and forget about them. That concludes. Are there any questions?
Where to begin? So you covered a lot of material, and just so we have a mode of attack. First and foremost, on the list of things you've covered, first and foremost, what should we do?
Go Google living will medical power of attorney and put state of whatever state you're in, state of North Carolina, state of Ohio, wherever you're at, and you will be taken to a website where these documents are. In Ohio, there are several sites. I gave one today where you can actually download these forms, print them out, and complete them, or you can actually, a lot of them are fillable PDFs, meaning you can type in the information and then you download and print it so that it can be signed, notarized, make multiple copies of it. So that would be where I would say is the first
So
section.
when we talk about the notarized copy, who should that go to?
Well, so once you get the form and you're working through the form, you need to gather those people. And the next step should be all those people that you're designating on that form, or that you want to designate on that form, your first, second, and third alternates. You need to talk to them. Y'all need to go over this form together so that everybody knows what is the expectations, what are your wishes. My daughter and I, we jokingly but seriously have this conversation, and my daughter's like, "Oh, I'm keeping you alive forever." I'm like, "No, you're not."
Right.
No, you're not. Those are the conversations that we sometimes don't like to have, don't want to have. but at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, we should have them because we need to, you know, that's a natural part of life. And
Absolutely.
being prepared for these things and understanding what needs to happen avoids the chaos. And also, we were talking about this, Brother Kwame, and we're gonna share this as a part of this. You all, everybody in the community is familiar with Brother Renee, and remember last year when he was in that really bad truck accident.
That's right.
And right now, with things being as they are with COVID and all the restrictions,
Right.
we can the hospital with our people.
Right.
And having these documents done now, avoids a lot of the problems that we were encountering in that situation with Brother Renee. And they didn't even want to talk to his children with
Mm.
regard to his condition and his status and what care was being administered. Because these documents weren't,
Right. Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
intervened once I was contacted by a family member, his niece, and we got everything straightened out and on an emergency basis, and we also followed up and
Right.
redocumented everything, to where he wanted it, and we listed his children as his agents, in order of his preference, starting with his oldest child, down through. But that's just one example, and these conditions we're in right now definitely should highlight to us. We may not be able to actually go in and see our family members
Right. Um, you
for
know,
them for themselves.
right. If you would do a favor for me, those documents that
Mhm.
you have, could you take pictures of them or however y'all do it and
Mhm.
post that up in our Jinyame
Yeah,
webpage?
a link to
Yeah,
that page.
because I want that to be in front of us, but at the same time, at least if we just begin with us in Jinyame, that we start working on our families, you know, let's say um, 1 week to a month at a time. At okay, this month we're going to handle medical power of attorneys or healthcare power of attorneys, right?
Hmm.
Next month we go to living wills. But just to give us a kind of benchmark
Yeah.
of goals to get set,
Hmm.
excuse me, so that we have these things in place
Yeah.
should they be needed.
They be needed, absolutely. And we were, this actually started from we wanted to do a live in person workshop, where we
Right,
actually were doing these things in person and having our seniors brought in. But again, the current situation doesn't allow us to safely interact that way. So we definitely and this is where I want to bring in the generations here, our young people, you guys are tech savvy. I need you guys to partner up with our elders. Um, some of our babas and our mamas don't necessarily have the technology, but you all do, and I really want to get that, to have that those partnerships be formed, and we start getting these documents done for people. I was doing mobile notary when I was in Columbus. Um, Sister Makeda, she's a mobile notary. All of her children are notaries. I mean, we've gone out in the community and we've done these documents for people.
right,
And so we have the resources and we have the people in our community. Most of you may know that I've left the state of Ohio. I've relocated, and but Sister definitely is on board with participating and facilitating this. She's actually in Africa right now, having fun. Bless her. But we've got to do it, and I will definitely get those links posted out in Gianna. Hmm.
good looking out. Well, you know, it's good that you made yourself available, and I'm sure there will be some follow up questions. But I am not one to listen to a screen reader and listen to, you presenting at the same time. So um, I don't readily have questions available to me at this point, but there were a few things that crossed my mind. So, when we hook up in the future, we can revisit some of these ideas. And, well, we will be revisiting them because it is our goal to get some of these things completed within the next couple of months at least.
Yeah,
Um, and
at least
so,
a good start on, and because these are living documents that we
right.
need to visit and revisit. And if once we decide when we're going to air this, I can certainly be available during the live stream, so that if necessarily call in, or however you want to do it. But I don't want us to make these topics and keep these topics taboo. We need to bring them out of the shadows. We need, we as a people, we do not fear death. We know it's part of life.
Hmm. Well, it's this year we as a family had dedicated this to being healthy, wealthy, and wise. And given that this year is also the year of Nia, our
Perfect.
purpose will be to stress health, wealth, and wisdom.
Hmm.
And so you were one full package, my sister.
Right. The health and
So
wellness is a total package. The health and wellness of our finances, of our minds, of our bodies, our spirits.
that's right.
All health and wellness. That's what
That's
we got
right.
on that.
And I will say, family, that it's because of this sister right here who got me to look at kale in a whole nother way. And now I hardly go a week without eating
Shay.
it. So I just give thanks. But
Right. It was fixed right. You loved it, right?
right. Well, if you have any closing remarks, we'll close this out, and I guess I'll get ready for my next meeting.
All right. Gratefully grateful that you guys included me, and I'm still with you guys in spirit.
Sister, and in truth. We give thanks. We give thanks. And again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, how much you bring to the table, the fire that you bring with it. I love you, sis, and thanks again.
One
One
love.
love. One love.
Okay.
Disable camera. Share screen. Especially in the Black community, because the next generation needs some guidance as to where to go, what to do, what not to do. I don't believe you have to live through every mistake to avoid it. But the issue with that is the generation that is providing the mentoring was raised by the generation before them. So we kind of have to.
Welcome to the Bold, Black, and Gifted Show, where we bring you Black pride, Black soul, Black inspiration, and Black joy. I am your host, Kiera Yakita, sometimes known as Kiki. And first of all, I wanted to thank you all for the tremendous support that we received with our first episode with Walter Carpenter at the Royce. You guys truly showed up and showed out for us, and we had lots and lots of viewers, lots of positive feedback, and hey, I even heard that Mayor Ginther was watching our show too. So we are so excited today to bring you another episode of the Bold, Black, and Gifted Show. Today, we featured Prestige Custom Clothiers in this beautiful, beautiful historic home here. I met with the two owners, Staten Brady and Armand Honeycutt, and we discussed Prestige, the future for Prestige, their fabrics, the suits, fashion, inspiration, and so many more exciting topics. I can't wait to bring you guys another episode of the Bold, Black, and Gifted Show today and let you get a taste of Black excellence and classy Black people, and to show you that this world is a part of who we are as well. We are more than our struggles and our pain. We are our excellence and our cut. So they just reached their 1-year anniversary recently, so we are super proud of them and we are super excited to learn more about them. So I'll start with you, Staten. So tell me, what gave you guys the idea to come up with the concept of a suit shop and a tailor shop?
Well, I've always been in the business. I've been in the custom clothing industry since 2013, from Macy's to actually working for other custom clothiers. Things didn't work out the way I wanted them to, so the passion was still there for the industry. The passion was still there for the art, but it was, okay, now I just need to go ahead and do this for myself, because clearly working for somebody else just wasn't in the books for me.
Exactly, and that's so exciting. I love that Black people are really taking the initiative to move into being entrepreneurs and being our own bosses, creating a legacy and a business that you can pass down to your children. So I love the style, I love the look of the shop, and I love your clothing. So Armand, tell me a little bit about your style inspiration, because you guys have some very unique suits, something I've never seen before.
My style inspiration, it literally changes like the weather. My biggest influence, it is the nature boy Ric Flair. Like everything down to the whether I put it in the monogramming of my jacket or in the monogramming of my shirt. Like, he is probably the single greatest influence. But it definitely ranges from how I'm just feeling that day. Because I have so many different influences, even down to Chairman Kaga from Iron Chef on certain days. So, inspiration literally. People always ask me, and it's just such a interesting, loaded question for me, because it's they say, well, what's your inspiration? I go, you got to ask me tomorrow. So,
Right.
It's all over the board. I've been told I'm the most eclectic person they've come across. So
Style influences came from family originally. My uncles, Uncle Walter, the way he dressed, but just some of the other African American icons in the industry, like your Duke Ellingtons, your Lucas Averys, your Terry Corbett's, just different people that have always set the tone and standard for men's dress, especially for Black people. I've always been infatuated with those individuals, and that's where I get a lot of my style from.
So I know you guys recently did your 1-year anniversary, so congratulations. I know the first year can be the hardest for small businesses. So Armand, tell me, what have been some of your greatest accomplishments in this first year of operation?
I think our greatest accomplishment is just being able to serve the people who have come so wholeheartedly to support us. Is in this first year, we've had doors closed right in our face. We've had people want to make deals with us, and I'm not going to call some of the obvious reasons. There could be the minute they actually see us in person, then it turns into, well, you know what? I think we're going to go in an opposite direction. So we had a lot of that our first year. We went to country clubs, went to businesses, and every last one of them, as soon as they see us, we talk to them. It sounds great. They close the door right in our face. We've had deals with people swept right from under us. So I think our accomplishment is the people who have come to us, the people who have stood right with us, to be able to constantly give them an overall excellent experience day in and day out, without changing who we are, without skimping out on anything. When we give them our best foot forward, that's a huge accomplishment, because consistency is, especially in our industry, consistency is a tough thing to do for some people. So the fact that we've consistently given them our best, it to me is our absolute biggest accomplishment.
I think that's one thing that people need to realize when you have a small business, is that every answer isn't always going to be a yes. And you guys really held on to your reserve and your strength, and you kept going, and look where you are now, 1 year in business. So again, congratulations on that. So Staten, what are some of your upcoming goals, some things that Prestige wants to accomplish here soon over the next year?
We definitely want to establish ourselves even more here in the Columbus, Ohio area, even the Ohio area in general. But moving forward, I would say in the next year, We would love to establish a team outside of Ohio, possibly Detroit, possibly Atlanta, maybe even Las Vegas. But we're definitely looking to grow and expand the team. That would probably be our biggest goal that we're looking at right now for year 2.
I know just from looking at your unique cloths, you guys told me that you've had some high profile clientele. Is there anyone in particular that you guys would say that you really want to work with?
And just in my years of the industry, I've served some of the best people, from the mayor himself to some of the most prominent business owners to some other greats, members of government and public service. I've had the pleasure to serve a lot of people, some great people. I will welcome anyone who comes through our doors. If I can make something for The Rock, absolutely. But just as important is just the person who walks in off the door who has no name to me. Like,
I love that.
I love high profile people, yes, but the guy across the street is just as important to me. So.
If you would like to be featured or know someone else that you would like to see featured on the Bold, Black, and Gifted show, please reach out to us at BLM, as in Black Liberation Movement, centralohio@gmail.com. We have a form that you can fill out. I will send that to you, and we can get you featured on the Bold, Black, and Gifted show. Thanks, everybody. Important, especially with you having a suit business. You know, I believe that with the two of you gentlemen being African American, that can be a great asset, because, you know, when you have a black man who has a wedding, a graduation, a party, a formal event that he needs to attend, he really can feel like this type of wardrobe is accessible to him when he sees people like himself running this kind of business. So, Staten, I follow you on Instagram after I met you when we did our last episode with your uncle, Walter Carpenter at the Royce. Yeah. He's a wonderful man. We loved filming with him. So, I've been following you on Instagram, and I notice you always have a lot of inspirational quotes. You're always giving advice to entrepreneurs. You've just positive and like a beacon of hope. So, I remember Walter told me that he kind of mentored you. And I feel like mentoring is very important. It's a dying art in the Black community. So tell me, what is your take on mentoring within the Black community?
I believe mentoring is such a vital aspect, especially in the Black community, because the next generation needs some guidance as to where to go, what to do, what not to do. I don't believe you have to live through every mistake to avoid it. But the issue with that is the generation that is providing the mentoring was raised by the generation before them. So we kind of have to re-navigate on where we're going as a culture, as a community, and reposition ourselves to be open and transparent and be able to say, hey, I made this mistake, or hey, you should do this, or hey, you shouldn't do that. And that way we can actually produce some productive individuals in the community.
To us, what are some of the offerings that you guys have for your customers?
So the business model is simple. We pretty much come to you wherever you are to conduct your fitting, take your measurements, show the fabric, go through the whole process, and then we actually come back to you to deliver it. And we've been everywhere so far. We've done Atlanta, we've done Detroit, done Cleveland, done Cincinnati. We have a few more cities on the book this year, hopefully a Chicago later this year. But yeah, it's just part of the whole service, the white glove service of you don't ever have to leave your home. We come directly to you, and we just give you the full white glove service from top to bottom. And that's how we make sure you have that prestigious experience.
Right, bringing the service to you, I think that's so valuable. It can alleviate some of that stress of your wedding day, and, you know, things are stressful, you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, but then these gentlemen here with Prestige will bring prestige to you. I've seen images of him delivering suits by hand to men who are having their big day, so I love that you guys are offering that. So, as a woman, I don't quite understand the suit building process. So most of us women, we can just pull a dress off the rack or, get something made really quickly. So explain to me what that process is like from coming in and signing up with you guys to walking out of the door with the suit. So explain that process to me a little bit.
A lot of people don't understand about our businesses. There are actually 3 different levels to what there is in our world. There's the customizing, like when you go in a store, warehouse looking store, we won't say for copyright reasons. You go into their store and they say custom or customizing. What that really is made to measure. They take a pre-existing cut and they take the measurements based off of your body to correct those things. Then there's what we do, which is full custom. What we do is take your full body measurements. Then the pattern is made based upon your measurements. So then we get the product back. We do any secondary adjustments we need to do. Most of the time, actually, about 80% of the time, we don't have to make secondary alterations because we're just that precise on our measurements. It's all about measure twice, cut once. That's how we strive to be. And like I said, there is always a chance you do have to do something secondary, and that's why we have our tailors. It's why we have, we're in this to take it all the way as far as our business go. And then there is that one level above called bespoke. Bespoke is a whole different world. A lot of companies call themselves bespoke. Anyone who's watching this question, anyone who says they're bespoke, if they're not laying a full canvas pattern on you and cutting the pattern out to your body, question that immediately. If they're not doing it, they're not bespoke, and walk away from them. Some people want to hate me for that one.
So what you have is a 100% wool flannel fabric, 320 grams. It's a nice weight for Ohio because it's not going to be so heavy where you sweat, but it's not going to be so light that you're going to freeze. It's going to be perfect for your October through March where we can get cool days, freezing days. What it'll do is it'll allow your body to retain its core temperature because it's wool, so it's going to retain your body heat, and it's going to wear well. And it's going to be a nice wool fabric that you can wear for your winter, fall to early spring here in Ohio.
Prestige were showing us some of their color palettes. Yeah. So what are some colors or some fabrics or styles that we should be looking for over the fall?
Actually, pinks, turquoise, Tiffany blues. These kind of things are going to pop in the winter. It's not going to be the old style where winter is more muted. So nowadays, everybody's going for more color.
Wonderful, wonderful. I know I'm glad that we've moved away from that 2006 black and navy blue for fall.
Absolutely. Something else that's going on real strong is the winter white. A lot of people would cut it off at September, but now it's just there's no rules in that game anymore.
It's 2020. There's no rules anywhere. And I can tell just by your personal style from your attire today how you came in here and just stunned it all over us that you are a very unique individual. So tell me, what are some of your biggest accomplishments that you've had in the industry?
Wow. I'm actually one of the first black male straight fashion designers in the city. Again, 30 years. I actually am the one that they would say started that for men, especially black men in Columbus, Ohio.
And I love that you all partnered up together. A thing that I think is really important is that black people, go into entrepreneurship. Absolutely. Move into owning our own instead of having to report to people and have them potentially discriminate, deny us opportunities. And B, it's so important that you all are collaborating with each other. You're sharing space, you're sharing ideas, you're sharing clientele. So how does that work with you and Staten and Armand from Prestige?
Well, these are my brothers, and I've always believed that we all need to work together to build a stronger base in this city and throughout the actual United States and world. If we're not working together, you will never see strength without unity. So we are family up in here, and so as long as I'm alive, we're gonna all make it happen.
I love that. And I can definitely feel the closeness and the fun environment and you guys teasing and joking with each other. And your customers also seem to look at you all as family. This is although you guys are not blood related, yeah. I feel like this is a family owned business. So tell our viewers, where can they find you and what should they do if they're wanting to check out some of your fashions?
I'm actually on Instagram and Facebook under Designs by Winborn.
Okay.
So give me a holler and we'll make it happen for you.
So what an excellent conversation with the gentleman at Prestige Custom Clothiers. I had the pleasure of learning so much about this business and so much about these excellent young black men and their offerings for the community. So we covered wonderful, relevant topics. And my biggest takeaway from the episode was that suits and the professional look, being classy, that's a part of who we are from the beginning. Staten mentioned the Harlem Renaissance and how our people were killing it in the fashion game many, many decades ago, before the modern era. And we definitely want to bring that classy look back and make it accessible to our people as well. Whether you have a wedding, a reception, a graduation, any other formal events, or if you just want to look good for your date night with your boo, you can definitely come here to Prestige Custom Clothiers, where they have affordable luxury and they have individuals who look like you. We are so appreciative of the black community and our allies for supporting our show, and most importantly, these bold, black, and gifted individuals. It doesn't just stop at suits and ties and shirts and shoes, but also at inspiration. They offer inspiration, good quotes, good mantras, things that we need to instill in ourselves. They want to bring back mentorship. Mentorship is something that I find very important in our community. We definitely need the older generations to step up and guide the younger generations through life, to teach them the way and give them that advice. Whether the youth has role models, both parental figures or not, I really think that we need to step back into mentoring. I spoke with Staten Brady, and he told me that his uncle, Walter Carpenter from the Royce, who we interviewed last week, worked as a mentor for him. He instilled that drive and resilience in him. He instilled that ambition, and he taught him to aim high and shoot for your dreams. Don't stop at those closed doors, as Staten said. And as Armand said, at the inception of this business, they really hit the ground hard and they really tried to get Prestige out there. They went to where the clientele would be, the country clubs, the business expos. They put themselves out there. They had multiple doors slammed in their face because of who they are, beautiful, strong black men. But they did not give up. They kept going and they kept trying. Every closed door leads to 5 other doors that you need to check. And I think that resilience and that brilliance is something that we can all learn from these gentlemen at Prestige.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the Unbossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
power, cause all we want is freedom. Throw up a fist for black power, cause all throw up a fist for black power, cause all we want is freedom. Throw up a fist for, throw up a fist, throw up a fist, throw up a fist for black power, cause all we want is freedom.
Oh, I wasn't ready. All right, family. Yo, hey. This is another one of those adventures of Brother Hatim. Family. One of my elders used to constantly tell me, he said, listen here, Peanut. I don't want you to learn how to work hard. I want you to learn how to work smart. And what we see right here is we see an individual working smart. Now, this is an Italian racer, bike racer, who demonstrated something that one of our elders in the Tawi village has been stressing to us for the last 3 years. He's been talking about this concept of tradition and reason. His name is Elder Tony, giving shouts out to Elder Tony. And Elder Tony West talks to us about tradition and reason. Now, many of us believe that one of the reasons we're not successful is that we don't work hard enough. But family, I'm going to tell you, many of y'all are working plenty hard, but you are not working smart. This dude was 5th in the race, and they're going down the hill. We don't know whether it was staged or whatever, but this guy jumped up on his seat and stretched his body out, right? Causing him to become aerodynamic, and he started going faster than everybody that was trying to paddle. You could see people trying to paddle faster when it was behind him, but they was going downhill, and the wind was hitting their full bodies and slowing them down. This dude said, I'm not going to go with the tradition. See, a lot of us, we get caught in those traditions because this is the way we supposed to do it. This guy had a desire to win. I don't know whether he was disqualified, because he may have been disqualified, because, you know, a lot of traditionalists don't want you to do anything outside of what everybody else is doing, even if it makes it easier. He decided to hit this hill in the Superman pose on the bike and shocked everybody. Not only did he pass all of the bike riders, he caught up to the number one guy and passed the point cycle that was in front of him. Family, please understand the lesson in this. Sometimes it's not about you working smart. I'm not my fault. Sometimes it's not about you working harder. It's about you figuring out a new way to solve an old problem. This dude got tired of being in the back, so he wanted to figure out a way to get in the front. And he did. It was unconventional. It was different. It was outside the box. And it might have costed him the competition. It might have got him kicked up out of the league. But he became an internet sensation because he did something that a lot of us that use the internet realize, but haven't figured out how to do. He figured out how to work smarter and not harder. And family, this is a lesson for you and for me. What are you doing in the traditional way that might not be working for you? Is there a way that you could do it smarter rather than just sticking to the way everybody else is doing it because it's the way that we always been doing it? But just because we've been always doing it like this does not make it the right way. Or better yet, does not make it the most efficient way, does not make it the smarter way, does not make it the more streamlined way. Sometimes we got to throw what we know to the side and experiment with something new. And we can't be fearful of that. Yo, this is Brother Hatim with a short one of those adventures with Hatim. I want to thank you for joining us. If you want to do your internet thing, you need to get with us at Giami Journey. If you want to do your ebooks and all that stuff, we can help you with it. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Family, works smarter, not harder. Thank you, Elder Nomo, for teaching me a lesson. And thank you, Elder Tony, for taking the time to at least affirm some of the stuff that some of the young people bring to the table.
It like a sprint. If you're going to be around, marathon characteristics are better.
Right. Well, Gary's got his way of succeeding.
Yes.
Okay. So if you're a successful person,
yes,
there were certain things that you did to make decisions.
Yes.
And if you go slowly and you write that down and you say, now when I'm in this situation, I make that decision that way, and you collect those principles and you get them. Principles are the formula for success. And by getting people to think about what are their formulas for success, get them from wherever you can. These happen to be mine. I was lucky in that like yourself, I started out with nothing, right? And then I stumbled my way along. And then over a period of time, I became something more than nothing. And so I learned these things. And I'm at a stage in my life where I wanted to pass those along. As long as I can continue to get other people to think about what are their recipes for success, then that's what it's all about.
Man, listen, family, I love this shit. You know what I'm saying? Gary V, Ray Dalio, talking about the power of principle. You need to stick around and find out what the hell they're talking about and tune into our show. Also, make sure you tune in to Gary V, Ask Gary V, very good show. Family, man. I am so glad that y'all are here to join us today. Man, I love this clip. This is a clip of Ray Dalio, the owner of one of the largest hedge funds in the world, and Gary V, a social media influencer. You know what I'm saying? I mean, fantastic conversation. You know, I be prowling around the internet looking for jewels, you know what I'm saying? Because I believe in wisdom mining, right? So I'm always trying to study. So those of you people that know me in my life, they see me walking around with my damn headphones on everywhere I'm at, because I'm tuned in, trying to listen to different voices and looking for points that I can use to help build Gianni Journey, right? Been doing it for years. Before the headphones, it was books and you know what I'm saying, the cell phone and whatever tools I could use, because all these things are tools to be used in wisdom mining. But the piece that really stood out for me in this one here is the fact that they're talking about principles, family. What do we talk about constantly on Gianni Journey Media? Right? What are your principles here? We done took the days of the week and I can't make it no planner for you, family. You want to improve your life. Establish a principle system. What are your principles? What do you stand on? I just want to move you and make you better. You know what I'm saying? Because if you get better, we get better. Right? So y'all know we got a principle system here at Gianni Journey. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't understand the principle system, go to our free G&J e-course. Go to our free G&J e-course so that you can find out what we're talking about. But the principles are powerful. Ray Dalio described them as a recipe for success, right? Our ancestors talk about the best life is achieved by applying yourself to a systematic process. Family, principles give you a systematic process that you can follow to move you from one state in your life to another state, right? And your principal systems help guide you. They help keep you on the road. You know what I'm saying? It's incredible how many people drive right past this idea, right? You have to establish the principles in your life. One is set the boundaries, right? Because it's very important. Listen. A lot of times people think you got to be able to do and willing to do anything for success. That's one of the most dangerous people to be hanging around. Anybody that don't have any boundaries is a very dangerous person because they could do anything, anytime, and then justify that shit. You understand what I'm saying? You need individuals who can set limits for themselves. There's certain things that are not for sales. It's certain things that I will not do. Right? They got limits, and I call it, in one of my books, I called it freedom within limits. Right? It unleashes power within you. Here you go, right here. Freedom within limits. Haku by Hatim. Now, the story of this book is that I received a challenge to write haikus. And I'm like, damn, there's a very limited system, right? You only can use 5, 7, and 5 is 5 syllables in the first line, seven syllables in the second line, 5 syllables in the third line. That's very limited. But once I really started experimenting and following those rules, I started looking at the unlimited possibilities within that small space. And principles work the same way in your life, because once you set these boundaries, you know what you could do, you know what you cannot do. It makes it a lot easier for you to be more expressive. Many of us limit ourselves by making everything around us unlimited. And I know that sounds crazy, right? But many of you, because you have not set the limits on your life, because you have not set the limits, because you have not put these principles in where they need to be in your life, you're running around here wondering why you can't move to unlimited heights, because you know what I'm saying, and not realizing that the reason you can't rise to unlimited heights is because you have not set the boundaries for how you would do it. So you're around looking for everything. You want to try this week, you want to try that next week. You know what I'm saying? What do your principles say about quitting? What does your principles say about dealing with hard times? What do your principles say about how you work with others? When you could work with others, when you need to stop working with others. Your principles will help you. And in you laying these principles down in your life, what you will start doing is attracting others with those same principles that will be able to help catapult you to where you want to go. Stop holding yourself back. Get yourself some principles. Stop playing. You don't have forever, right? Life is very limited for us. When you look at the age of the universe, we're here, but we're a blip on the screen. It's even a blip. And the question is, what are you doing with your time here? Family, you know what I'm saying? Set the limits, set your principles so that you can move to the heights that you need to move to. Your principles are like a map that will help you get to where you want to go, because check it out. You know what I'm saying? You might live in Ohio and want to go to Florida, and you can get to Florida if you drive west. It'll take you a lot longer. You understand what I'm saying? You go west, and then you go east, and then you could go north. But if you have a direct route to Florida, if you have a limited amount of routes to get to where you're going, it makes it easier for you to get to where you want to go. You can go whatever direction you want. But the quickest direction for me would be to get on 71 South and drive down to 71 South and continue on the next expressway that would take me south, that's heading towards Florida. But of course, I could go other ways. But by me limiting my options, it makes it easier and quicker for me to get to where I want to go. And that's what principles do for you. This is why in Gianna, we keep on talking about the Nguzo Saba. This is why we talk about the laws of Mayat, because we want our members, we want our tribe members to understand that once you establish these so-called limits on your life, you move into a realm of powerfulness. You move into a realm of unlimited possibilities because you have cut out the noise outside and you can focus directly on where you want to go rather than traveling all over the map of life. Family, we could build together, we could rise up. It's just a matter of us plugging into the recipe for success that you hear Gary Vee and Ray Dalio talking about. And that's those principles that will take you there are very simple to find. Right now in Giambi Journey, we're talking about the Nguzo Saba every day. We done change the days, we done change the day names just so that people can understand the importance of principles. So every day we review a principle here on Giambi Journey Media. All you gotta do is join us and get your life in order. Get those limits so that you know exactly, so you could clarify your sight. You can take out all these options and you could be looking directly at what you want. Many of you got too many things in your eyes, too many things on your mind to really get to where you want to go. Help yourself. Get some principles.
How is it that the black civil rights era produced more gains for other class groups than the intended beneficiary, blacks?
For a very simple reason, and that is through inherited wealth. I just told you a few minutes ago that 99% of everything was maldistributed into the hands of the dominant white society, but now 87% of it is frozen, locked in there. It's locked into the dominant white society, into their trust accounts, banks, institutions, universities, communities, and their culture. The black folk cannot get access to it. That's why the present administration, like with Trump, one of the first things they're going to focus on is inherited laws, change the tax structure, so they can pass on all these rights and benefits into their offsprings. And black folk, on the other hand, are going to be confronted by white kids, for instance, a white child gets 87% of what he needs to be a competitive individual in our society at birth. As soon as he hits the air in the hospital, he gets 87% because everything he needs is in the white society. He can get access to it anytime he wants. But the black child, on the other hand, he can't compete because when he's born in that same hospital, there's nothing inheritable that he can gain. So because everything that the blacks have been focusing on for the last 100 years is non-inheritable. Food stamps, welfare, public housing, and a job, you cannot inherit them. So the black child is non-competitive. He can't compete with a white child. So in the morning, even if he wants a job, he got to dress up and go to a white neighborhood or somebody else's neighborhood and try to look for a job. It's impossible. He can't compete. That's why he's a permanent underclass.
Oh, man, I'm ready for the heat that this one's going to bring, family. Oh, man, I'm ready for that heat. Bring that shit on. Because I know a lot of y'all going to be mad, and I know a lot of y'all going to have something to say. But you know what? This is GNJ.media, and I'm going to say what the fuck I want to. You know why? Because we own this. So let's get this adventure started. So on this video, we got the master teacher, Dr. Claude Anderson, breaking down the fact that white children are born into the world with 87% of what they need to be successful. Now, what is he talking about? Because I know some of y'all, it's going to rub your ass the wrong way. But what he's talking about is inherited wealth. Inherited wealth. You like, well, all white children are born with everything, and all black children are not born with nothing. But family is a large, big difference in those numbers. Let's be clear. Black folks are only 40% of this country. right? And according to some of the statistics, I'm only here. There's only 300,000 some odd black millionaires, right? But then if we look at the numbers, we flip the numbers. I won't play the number game with you, but let's just say this, family. Let's say this. When you look at what Dr. Claude Anderson is saying, legitimately, he's saying that the institutions that are in place make it possible for a white child to be able to stay totally in their own community, isolated from the rest of the world, and be able to be successful. When black children are born into a world where they have to go into everybody else's place, especially white people's places, to be successful. This is legit. I mean, you could be mad, you could argue about that shit, but then I want to talk to you about where you get your degree from. You say I got it from a white university. Like I went to Ohio State, I got my certification, my freedom papers from a white institution. Some of y'all say, well, I went to a historically black university. Okay, I could go on and challenge that shit too, because like, for example, we look at some of the names of some of these universities and some of the foundations that support these universities, and we look at some of the curriculum of some of these universities, we can see that it is guided by the majority group's opinions of what is success and what you need to learn. Family, let's stop playing games. Let's stop moving the target. Let's stop doing whatever the fuck. Let's stop erecting straw man arguments. Let's just stop and let's look at the reality. Let's look at the numbers. Family, now I don't want you to get depressed. I don't want you to feel defeated with this, because Dr. Claude Anderson said, this is over 20 years ago, might have been 30 years ago, that if we did not get our stuff together, we would be a permanent underclass. And unfortunately, what he's saying is being made apparent with this current COVID crisis at this point in time. And according to the numbers, by 2053, the average black family's income, the median black family income will be at zero. And I know a lot of y'all is like, boom, 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 but I want you to understand, COVID sped all that shit up. So it might be a lot sooner than 2053. The fact of the matter is, family, if you do not start controlling what it is you create, if you do not start harnessing your creativity within your community and becoming useful to your community, and if we don't start educating our young people as well as some of our older people who are doing obviously dumb shit, we will sink into the bottom of this culture, into the bottom of this country, and into the abyss and be forgotten. Family, we got some real work to do. And this is an opportune time. This is the time for you. This is the time for your tribe. This is the time for us to come together and really, really, really fight, family. This is the hero's journey. There's no more perfect time to be black and be born, because this is the time where heroes rise and suckers fall. Are you a hero? Are you willing to face the dragon of white supremacy and slay that motherfucker? Or are you just going to be satisfied and sit there and just watch the heroes fight? You understand what I'm saying? How do you fight? Your sword is your creativity. Your sword is your kuumba. Your sword is your purpose. Your sword is your principles. Listen to me, family. This internet has provided us with a tool, with a weapon that we can use to not only fight off white supremacy, not only re-educate the population, not only re-educate our own people, but also create finances in which we can use to continue building other things. Now, if you are one of those that are bold enough to put out your ideas, if you're one of those that are bold enough to write down your thoughts, if you are one of those that are bold enough to do creative content and to put it on the internet, you need to get with Giami Tribe, because we are a media tribe, because we understand the power of media, and we know how it can shape and form the minds of those that are watching or listening. If you want to put together your podcast, if you want to put together a stream, or you want to do both of them, we can help you here at Giami Journey put it together. If you want to do a social media campaign and create commercials and stuff, blah, 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 we can help you with that. If you want to put together a blog, we can help you with that. If you want to put together an e-course, we can help you with that. If you want to put together an ebook, we can help you with that. If you want to go on and start your own production company and start making beats and start marketing the beats and start creating your own music, we can help you with that. If you want to start your own cooking show, we can help you with that. If you want to start your own TV show, we can help you with that. Here at Giambi Journey Media, we've been exploring all these avenues, family, all the stuff that I said. In some form or fashion, we are working on it, and we can help you rise above the mess. Because the mess is going to make us a permanent underclass. As long as we concerned about Cardi B and who she married to, and as long as we get caught up in all that bullshit that's in the media right now, we will always be a permanent underclass. If you get an opportunity, go on and listen to this show. This is the Rock Newman Show. This is a legendary a broadcaster who has been doing this for years. And he had Dr. Claude Anderson on, and he asked Dr. Claude Anderson some very good questions that can help you get some insight into where you are. Because family, until you really realize where you are, you will not really understand what you need to do. Now they say if you don't understand white supremacy, everything else will confuse you. But not only if you don't understand white supremacy, but you don't understand if you don't have a historical framework that lets you know where you are, when you are, and why you are, then even if you understand white supremacy, you're still confused. Understand where you are. Understand who you are. Understand why you are. And start building yourself a tribe. Or join the tribe that already can help you with those things. And if you want to check out our e-course, by all means, please do. gnj.media. Watch the next video. Watch the next video. Watch the next video. No, I'm just joking, family. Family, thank you for joining us. Be sure to catch us on the next video, family. Peace. Watch the next video. Watch.
Peace. This is Brother Hatim, and I want to say hi to the group. Hey, the group, can y'all say hi? Hi! All right, now we doing a live story, and we doing right now the story called The Magic Bird. Now, I'm doing it with this group because they already experienced the Magic Bird, and they know how to do it, don't y'all? Yeah! We gonna turn it out, right? Yeah! All right, so now, this story is called The Magic Bird, and all of y'all know that all my stories start which way? That way and far, 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 far away. Once there was a group of villages. Now, this was the villages of the Yami people. And the Yami people are known worldwide for all of their accomplishments. But this was before they became famous. Before they became famous, they were attacked by a swarm of birds. Now, these weren't ordinary birds. These was magic birds. And these magic birds would come and take their food, but it would be a particular type of food that they would take. They only would take prepared food. So this means that they never attacked the cows. They never attacked the goats. They never attacked the corn. They never went out in the field or went to the fruit trees. They will only take the food if you have prepared it and made it ready to eat. So that meant that the goats were safe as long as you didn't want to make goat soup. Or the cows were safe as long as you didn't make hamburgers. As soon as you got done cooking it and was about to put it up in your mouth and eat it, guess what would happen? The birds would appear and take it. And this happened to everybody at the same time. So you, and you could all be eating at the same time in different villages, and all at the same time, the birds would appear and do what? So if you had, what's your favorite food? And you had your favorite food? Gotta talk loud. French fries. And you had chicken and rice. And you had broccoli. And you had, all right, somebody said strawberries. You? This one right here that I'm pointing at. Right here, you, in the red shirt. Huh? Hot dogs. And you? Huh? Fudge. Okay, and you?
French fries.
French fries. And you?
Gingies.
All right, and you?
Carrot.
And you?
Hamburger.
And you?
Wendy's.
And you? You know, wait, hold on. You know Wendy's is not a food. What type of food?
Corn.
Okay. And you?
Popcorn.
And you? Okay, double-decker hamburger. Talk loud so you can be heard. And you?
And a sandwich.
Sandwich. Last one. And you?
A pizza.
All of y'all had all y'all food at the same time. These birds would appear and do what? Now, this was going on for a while. And the elders finally came together and decided. The elders came together and decided that they need to handle this situation. They decided that they needed to deal with these birds. So they went and got one guy, because he was an excellent nation builder, and his name was Chaco. And they gave Chaco the responsibility to go out and get rid of these birds. Because these birds was taking all the food, so now the children was miserable. The parents were miserable. The grandparents were miserable because these birds was taking their food. So they told Chaco, they said, Chaco, we're going to give you the responsibility because the future of the villages lie in your hand. So Chaco came, and Chaco decided the best way to handle it was to find the source of the magic. Because magic, just like any other problem that you're going to experience in your life, can be solved best if you get to the root. So magic, if you found the root of the magic, you can stop the problem. So he figured the birds wasn't the root of the magic. He figured the birds were the symptom of the magic. So he wanted to go and find the root of the magic. So what he did was he got the best trackers. Nyami people was famous because they were good trackers. And they sent out a tracker from each village to go out and find where these birds come from. Now the birds moved so fast that you couldn't see them, so it took these trackers weeks. And every now and then they would find a broken branch, and they would follow it. And they would find some magic bird poop. And they would follow it, and they would find a little footprint, and they would follow it. And eventually, they all found where the birds were coming from. And guess where they was coming from?
The magic tree.
How did y'all know it was a magic tree? It was a magic tree. It was a magic tree. And they brought it back to Chaco, and they said, Chaco, there's a magic tree. And Chaco said, how you know it's a magic tree? They said, we know this land we know this land like we know the back of our hands, and we especially know all the old trees. And this tree wasn't there last season. this tree is bigger than every tree, and this tree looks older than every tree, and none of us, all the trackers agreed from all the villages that none of us have ever seen this tree before. So the tree must be the magic. It must be magic. So Chaco decides, well, this is an easy problem, so we just gonna send somebody to chop down the tree. But I wonder who we are going to send to chop down this tree. You know who we gonna send first? Who? That's right. We're going to go to the elders, and we're going to get the elders to chop down the trees because the elders got the most experience. They're going to be able to do it quickly. And since they're dealing with magic, most of the tricks that will come from the tree, the elders will be ready for because they lived a long life. They're wise enough to deal with the magic. So he gathered all the elders around the sacred campground, and he calls them all, and he says, elders, I've gathered you here today because I have an important mission for you. You know that our villages have been plagued. We have had a problem for months. And the very life of each one of these villages and our children and your grandchildren lie in your hands right now. We need to go out. Better yet, y'all need to go out because I'm going to stay here at the command center to make sure everything go well. Y'all need to go out to this magic tree and cut down the tree because I believe that once we get rid of the tree, we get rid of the birds. So the elders at first was kind of like not agreeing, you know, because they like, your logic don't sound right, Sonny. You know what I'm saying? Don't sound right. So Chaco figured he had to get them hyped up. He said, I, like you, am tired of these birds. If you are tired of these birds, let me hear you say yeah. Yeah! If you are you tired of these birds taking your hamburgers? Yeah! Are you tired of these birds taking your pizza? Yeah! Are you tired of these birds taking your broccoli? Yeah! Your goat stew? Yeah! Your hamburgers? Yeah! Your candy? Then you must agree with me that these birds got to go. And Chaco stopped, and then he looked at him like I'm looking at you now. And he said, the only solution is down with the birds.
Down with the birds! 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 Down with the birds!
Down with the birds! They chanted it and chanted it, and then they broke up and they went and got their axes. They went and got their spears. They went and got their shields. They went and got their bows and arrows. They went and got their swords, and they all came back to the meeting ground, and they all marched out to the tree. And when they got within sight of the tree, they weren't expecting to see what they saw. This was the most beautiful sight that any of them in all of their long lives had ever seen. The birds sitting on the tree with all the different colors made the tree look like it was on fire. The birds was such a beautiful sight sitting on this majestic tree out on top of the hill. So they decided that they knew that they had to chop this tree down because that truly was a magical sight. So they surrounded the tree and they put the shields up front. And behind the shields, they put the swords. And behind the swords, they had individuals with spears. And behind them people were the people with the axes. And up farther back was the archers. And they had all set up ready just in case the birds were going to attack. And they slowly moved in on the tree, step by step, watching the birds, making sure that they were not ready to attack. But the birds never moved. Actually, the birds sat there like statues. Every now and then, one would move. But they just sat there. And as they got close enough to the tree, they put the shields up over their heads, and from behind, everybody ran the best axe people. And they ran up, and they started chopping at the tree. And they did.
Chop! Chop!
And on the third chop, all the birds looked down at the same time. Then they looked up and they started singing. They started singing a song that was so beautiful and so magical that it stopped the elders in their tracks. Now, this wasn't no ordinary song. This ain't no song that you can turn on and listen to on the radio. This was a song that not only touched their ears, but this song touched their hearts. Because in the song, it was about the elders' past. And the elders fell out into it, and they really got involved with the music. Some of them started to cry. The music was so beautiful. They listened to it as the song reminded them of all the things that they had done, reminded them of all the mistakes that they had made, reminded them of love lost and love found, reminded them of their parents and those people who had passed on. And the song was so beautiful that the elders listened all night. And when the sun rose, they all decided that they could not cut down the tree. So they picked up their shields. They picked up their spears. They picked up their swords. They picked up their bows and arrows. And they picked up their axes. And they walked back to their villages. But they sent one person to Chaco's house. And he walked up to the door and he knocked 3 times. Go ahead, somebody knock. Chaco ran to the door. He opened the door. He was excited. He said, "Come on in, elder. Tell me what happened." And the elder sat down. He gave the elder some coffee. They sat down. They started talking. And the elder said, "Well, I got some good news and some bad news for you. Which one you want first?" He said, "Oh, okay." Chaco said, "Good news first." He said, "Well, we didn't cut down the tree." He said, "How's that good news?" He said, "Look, we decided as elders that any bird, any animal that could sing a song that beautiful cannot be evil. And we refuse to chop down that tree." And at that point in time, Chaco looked at the elder and he saw that the elder had been bewitched by these birds. This means that the man was up, all the elders was up under the spell of this bird. So they didn't care what the birds did no more. So he let the elder go and he started thinking, who can I send now? Because the elders, if the elders fail, and they are the best of us, they are the wisest of us, who can I send now? But the only group that was left for him to send was who?
The kids.
No, the warriors and the nation builders. He sent them out. He sent them out. He called them all to him and he said, "Warriors and nation builders, the very life of our villages is in your hands. And I didn't come to you at first because I didn't think that you would be able to accomplish the mission, because we are dealing with some strong magic. In fact, the magic is so strong that it overcame my elders. So now the fate of the village is in your hand." So he go through his whole thing again. He said, "I know, like me, that you are tired of these birds. Are you tired of these birds taking your food? Are you tired of these birds taking your cream of wheat? Are you tired of them taking your Cocoa Puffs? Are you tired of them taking your Captain Crunch? How about taking your hamburgers? Your French fries? Your pizzas?" So then there's only one conclusion, and that conclusion is very simple. Down with the birds. Down with the birds. Down with the birds.
Down with the birds. Down with the birds. Down with the birds. Down with the birds.
Down with the birds. So he sent out all of the nation builders and the warriors. Take your seat. Take your seat. He sent out all the warriors and the nation builders to this tree. And when they got there, they were shocked. And they set up just like the elders. shields in front, swords, spears, and the people with the axe coming in behind. And way in the back was the archers ready to launch the arrows just in case the birds attack. So they moved in slowly with the shields. And as they got closer, they looked up and they noticed how beautiful this tree was. This was the most beautiful tree they ever saw. And with the birds on there, it glowed against the sky. So they moved closer to the tree. And when they got close enough, they raised the shields up above their heads to protect their heads. And the people with the axes jumped up on the tree. And they immediately began to chop. Chop! 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 And on the third chop, the birds started singing. But this song didn't affect the warriors and the nation builders. So they kept chopping. Chop! 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 So the birds changed their song. And this time, the song caught the warriors and the nation builders. And they immediately stopped. And they dropped the axes. And they dropped the shields. And they dropped the swords. And they dropped the spears. And they dropped their bows and arrows. And they listened to the song. And they started dancing. Because the song, go ahead, go and get up. They started dancing. Having fun. Because the song that the birds sang was about the future and victories to come. The birds sung about love to come. The birds sung about adventures to come. The birds sung about challenges to come. And the warriors and the nation builders got caught up in the magic. Go ahead, grab a seat. So they danced all night. And when the morning came and the sun rised and they were totally exhausted, they talked amongst themselves and they came to the agreement that they could not chop down this tree. So they all picked up their spears, they picked up their swords, they picked up their shields, they picked up their bows and arrows, and lastly they picked up their axes, and they walked back to their villages. And they sent one person to Chaco's house, and he walked up to Chaco's house and he knocked. Chaco jumped up and ran to the door and said, "Man, I'm so glad to see you. Come on in." And he had breakfast prepared. And they sat down and they talked for a minute. And then Chaco said, "Well, how did it go with the tree?" And the nation builder looked at him and said, "Well, Chaco, I got some good news and some bad news." You want the good news or bad news first? Well, the bad news is we didn't cut down the tree. Chaco said, "Yeah, that is bad." So what's the good news? The good news is that we decided we wasn't going to chop down the tree. Chaco said, "What?" And he was about to argue with the man about how the bird has been taking food out of your children's mouths, how the birds have been tormenting the people. And Chaco said, "I'm not even going to argue," because he looked at the man and he saw that the man had been bewitched by the birds. And all of the warriors and the nation builders were up under this spell. Chaco let him go, and for a second, Chaco felt so bad that he wanted to cry because he didn't know what to do now. He didn't know what to do now because the elders had failed, the warriors and the nation builders had failed. That's basically the grandparents and the parents have failed the village. Who else can he depend on to go out and get this tree?
The children!
It just so happened that outside Chaco's window, I'll wait. Outside Chaco's window, some kids was outside playing. And he looked and he thought about it. He said, "I guess I don't have anything to lose. I know the elders and the nation builders and the warriors won't like it, but I'm going to have to get the kids to help me. And I'm going to have to go out this time. So he tell one of the kids, he said, come here. I want you to go gather all the children at the sacred meeting grounds. But make sure you don't tell your grandparents or your parents. Y'all come in secret. So all the kids go, and they spread the secret around. They all gather at the camp, at the meeting grounds. And Chaco walks up to the stage and he says, children, the future of our villages are in your hands. The elders, your grandparents, and your parents have failed you. They have all filled up under the spell of this bird. And the only people left for me to call is you. And I need you to come with me. Because we have a mission. We have to destroy the tree that is causing us all this grief. How many of you are tired like me? If you're tired like me of these birds taking your food, say yeah. Are you tired of these fools taking your candy? Yeah. Are you tired of these birds taking your pizza? Yeah. Are you tired of them taking your burritos? Yeah. Are you tired of them taking your goat? Yeah. Are you tired of them taking your soup? Yeah. Are you tired of them taking your vegetables? Yeah. Then there's only one solution, and that solution is down with the birds. Down with the birds!
Down with the birds! Down with the birds! Down with the birds! Down with the birds! Down with the birds! Down with the birds! Down with the birds! Down with the birds!
Down with the birds! So, all the children ran out. All the children ran out, and they grabbed axes, and they grabbed spears. I wait. They grabbed spears. They grabbed shields. And lastly, they grabbed the bows and arrows, and they met Chaco back at the meeting grounds, and Chaco led them out. And as they marched towards where the tree was, and they eventually was able to see the tree, the kids were amazed by the sight of the tree, because up against the skyline, it looked like the tree was on fire. The birds were so beautiful. The birds were so beautiful. The children saw the tree, and they all dropped the spears. And they all dropped their swords. And they all dropped their shields. And they just ran towards the tree. They ran towards the tree because the tree was so beautiful. And they ran up to the tree. And they immediately started chopping.
Chop! Chop! Chop!
The birds, all at the same time, looked down and started singing. And the song didn't stop the kids. And the kids kept chopping. So the birds changed the song and started singing another song, but the kids kept on chopping. And the birds tried to sing louder, but the children kept chopping. And the birds kept trying to sing, and they sung louder, and the kids kept chopping. Now, the whole time that this was going on, Chaco was watching. And when the birds sung the first song, Chaco started crying like one of the elders. Then when they sung the second song, he started dancing like the warriors and the nation builders because he fell up under the spell. But the children didn't fall up under the spell. And when they started singing louder, he just basically passed out. But finally, when the children got done chopping, go ahead. The birds stopped singing. And all the children gathered around the back of the tree. And Chaco said, push! And the children said on 3. 1, 2, 3. Timber! The tree fell. But the birds didn't move. And the kids weren't scared. So all the kids ran to the tree and they grabbed one of the birds that looked like a statue. And as they picked up the bird turned into light. And it lit the child up because the bird's magic went into the children. But it wasn't bad magic. Now, as they went back home, Chaco sent the children out to go tell the elders and the warriors and the nation builders to meet them at the sacred campground, the secret meeting place. And everybody came. And they was looking around at the kids celebrating. They asked the kids, why y'all celebrating? And Chaco went on stage and said, we're celebrating because your children have succeeded where you have failed. He said the children did not fall up under the spell of the birds. The birds fell up under the spell of the children. Because the children didn't get caught in the past as the elders did. And because they wasn't so caught into the future like the nation builders and the warriors. And because they was able to focus on now, they were able to do what all you adults could not. So every day we will celebrate these children. Now this is what's special about those children. Those children like you absorbed the magic of the birds. And this group of kids became the generation of the Nyami people that would change them forever. Because these kids all were brilliant after that day. And that's the end of the story. Y'all say bye. Bye.